Azimio leader Raila Odinga jetted back into the country from Poland and headed straight to the Kamukunji grounds, where Azimio unveiled their next move in their quest to liberate the nation called Kenya. Yeah. But even before Raila stood up to speak, Eugene Wamalwa revealed to Kenyans, the next step in Azimio's resistance campaign, especially against the Finance Bill 2023 and what is being referred to by a vast majority of Kenyans as punitive taxes, ushuru ya kumaliza kabisa wananchi. Now please take careful note of the very smart, clever change of strategy of Azimio. Notice that during yesterday's rally at Kamukunji, there was no mention of opening the servers. Now don't get me wrong. It does not mean that Azimio does not want the servers to be opened. But you see, in politics, you take advantage of every opportunity you get to reach your goal. Yeah? You don't have to stick to some certain points if you know you'll get where you want to go quicker by using another route. And indeed, this route which Azimio are using is a gift from UDA. What UDA did is that they just handed Azimio a gift. Zawadi. Take this, Azimio. It will help you in fighting us better. It will help you remove us from power quicker. That is precisely what happened. As I've said here on this channel many times. And instead of Azimio ignoring the gift handed over to them and folding their hands and pouting and saying, open the servers, hatutaki kitu ingine. Instead of doing that, Azimio has received the gift with two hands, gratefully, and they have run with it. So, let's dive in immediately without wasting any time into those points. And indeed, the four major points that illustrate what Azimio are going to do. Number one, Eugene Wamalwa, who spoke this time on behalf of Azimio, when giving out the declarations, declared that as far as Azimio are concerned, the bipartisan talks have come to an end. The time to talk has come to an end. And now, according to Azimio, it is time for action. Point number two, Azimio announced that they will start a campaign of defiance and civil disobedience, which will take different forms at different times. Number three, Azimio announced that they will convene a major meeting on the 7th of July to launch nationwide civil disobedience. And then number four, which I believe will excite many supporters of Azimio, is that Azimio will start immediately to embark on collecting signatures from the people of Kenya. Signatures for what? You really need to wait for this one. Signatures for secession. You know, when you want to secede, this is usually the first step, followed at some point by a referendum. But this approach of Azimio in this instance, I believe, is a little different. Because, as far as I know, there is no territorial secession anybody is looking for here. The secession which is being talked about here, is the people of Kenya seceding from the minority leadership that we have in the country now, today as we speak. The very minority UDA leadership. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and I have to confess that I don't know much about the legal technicalities involved in where this is going. But what we can be sure about is that these signatures are to secede the vast majority of Azimio supporters from the very minority leadership which is exploiting Kenyans right now, and the most recent example being the very punitive tax measures which have been implemented on Kenyans who are already suffering, who are already in pain, who are already getting problems, struggling to put food on the table. A bigger load has been put over them. And what makes matters worse is that we see the UDA leadership throwing money around, buying expensive watches, expensive shoes, brand new cars, spending taxpayers' money badly, buying new official limousines, etc., etc. That's what Kenyans are seeing. And this will be signatures to us Kenyans if they want to disassociate themselves completely, secede from this regime. And all indications are that this collection of signatures will start immediately. And you can predict what's going to happen. They will have no problem getting signatures from hungry, suffering Kenyans. That's the truth. And there's also something else that will happen as these signatures are collected. It will become very clear that the results which were announced and confirmed by the Supreme Court of Kenya are not the real results of our last elections. Because if they are the real results, then it would not be so easy to collect those signatures. And then after Eugene Wamalwa, Raila in his speech revealed a few ideas of defiance and ensuring that the UDA government will not come anywhere near the tax targets they have in mind. Raila suggested many ideas, like limiting the use of petroleum and diesel by carpooling. Instead of using a vehicle to work, you use one vehicle, all of you get into it, you give each other a lift. Walking instead of driving a vehicle to work, taking public transport. And he asked for the cooperation of matatu owners and drivers, asking them to carry beyond capacity, double the usual capacity, without raising fares. And he asked for the police, the traffic police, to cooperate. Now, of course, the immediate question there is, will it work? Well, my answer to that question is, it depends on the response of the people. However, the response of the people is very predictable. You see, not everybody can participate in maandamano. And a lot of the people who are hurting, a lot of the people who are being already affected by the reckless policies of the UD administration, Kenya Kwanza administration, many of those people cannot participate in maandamano. And many of those people have been wishing for an opportunity to express themselves. Raila presented it to them yesterday. And I predict many, many Kenyans will join in these protests, in whatever way they can. How do I know that? Well, I'll respond with a question. What is the mood of the Kenyans on the ground right now? What do Kenyans feel about the government right now? Answer that question, and I will have answered the question you've asked. Now, for the sake of my fellow Kenyans out of the country, in very far, far away lands, and maybe with limited contact to the motherland, and who may therefore not be in a position to know what the mood is, let me refer you to what is unfolding right now. We are having situations where those who voted yes, or those in the Kenya Kwanza administration, are appearing in public. And the response of the people is that they don't want those people to talk to them. They don't want those people to give a speech. This has already happened a dozen times right across the country. Different situations. We have situations where prominent Kenya Kwanza leaders and legislators, for instance, go into a stadium to watch a soccer game, a football match, and the people say, no, we're not going to watch this match with you here. Go and watch the match between Finance Bill 2023 and the opponents. Not this football match of ours. We don't want you here. Okay? And I believe that is enough to show you the mood of Kenyans countrywide right now, and how they're going to respond to this opportunity given to them by Azimio leader Raila Odinga to show the world what they feel, what they're thinking. Folks, from here on, it's going to be downhill. What I mean is that the situation in the motherland is going to be unpredictable. But the good news for those who seek a better Kenya is that this minority government, with all their power, with all the state machinery, in my opinion, cannot stop this, because they cannot stop the people. History has shown us again and again, you cannot rule people who do not want you to rule them. Okay? And this Kenya Kwanza government has done everything right. They have done everything in their power to ensure that the people turn against them. Yeah, and this is exactly what is happening. This is exactly what is unfolding. I leave it to historians to solve that mystery, that very huge puzzle of how a man can come into power with minority votes, and then they immediately embark on ensuring that they will be out of that power as soon as possible. Instead of consolidating, gaining support from the people, which is what they should have done. I leave that to historians to analyze, because they're going to have the benefit of hindsight, which is invaluable in analyzing such things. But in my opinion, from where I sit, this is all spiritual. Okay? What you plant is what you harvest. What you sow is what you reap. That is a spiritual law. And you can never, ever run away from that one. No matter how much money you have, no matter how clever you are, no matter how powerful you think you are, you can't run away from that spiritual law. What you plant on the ground, what you plant anywhere. For instance, you cannot plant mangoes and expect to harvest maize. How? Right from the word go, this government has planted something in Kenya. And what we are seeing now is the beginning of the harvest, the beginning of reaping what they themselves planted. Not anybody, it is them who planted. Yeah, and now we are seeing, or beginning to see, them harvesting precisely and exactly what they planted. My dear friends, if you have not been preparing, if you are not ready for what is coming, I once again strongly recommend that you get ready. Yeah, in whatever way you can. Sit down and figure out what's going on. Yeah, and figure out where you are. And figure out how you're going to cross this very deadly dangerous, perilous part of the bridge we've been talking about. Of course, my sets of videos, details in front of your screens, can be a great help. Yeah, and it comes with my weekly intelligence briefings. By the way, just yesterday I released information, very highly sensitive information, in the form of some text, revealing why a Kenyan minister was banned from entering the UK. The reason is just mind-blowing, and it has never been made public. But now weekly intelligence briefing subscribers, no, they know that unbelievable truth. And so by getting this valuable tool to organize yourself for what is unfolding in Kenya, you'll also be able to get all my previous weekly intelligence briefings, including the very latest on the Museveni Manenos, and the very, very latest, this information about a very powerful cabinet minister who was banned from entering the UK for a reason that will just blow your mind. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.